Let's take a look at how to create and manipulate basic MATLAB variables. To start with, we're going to need some variables. For now, I'll use the simplest method of creating variables, typing in the command window. Defining a new variable in MATLAB is very easy. Unlike in other programming languages like C or Java, there is no need to add a variable declaration statement. In other words, you don't need to tell MATLAB something like, this variable is an integer, or this variable is a string. Instead, all you need to do is tell MATLAB what your variable is equal to, so let's do that now. In the command window, type a equals 1 and press enter. This causes three things to happen. First, the command window gives you back the result that a equals 1. Obviously, that isn't particularly useful now, but if the variable had been defined as some complicated function, it would help to know its exact value. Second, the command history updates to include the latest command. Third, the workspace now shows a new variable called a with a value of 1 and a size of 1 by 1. The size basically just says that a is a scalar. For this video, I removed the class column in the workspace, so right now I'm not really sure what type of variable a is. It looks like an integer, but it could just as easily be a double or a long. If I right-click on any of the columns in the workspace and choose to show variable class, you can see that a is a double, but if you were working in a script or a function, you would have no way of knowing this. By default, MATLAB considers any variable to be a double and makes calculations accordingly. But what if I'd wanted to create a variable that had a different class? To manually input the class of the variable, include the class as a function in the variable definition. For instance, if I wanted to create a new variable also equal to 1 that was an unsigned integer, I could type in b equals uint16 parentheses 1. Where uint16 is a name of the unsigned 16-bit integer class. For a full list of class names, you can type in help class and press enter. The result of the command was to create variable b with the same value and size as a, but with a class of uint16 rather than double. Changing the class of a variable after creating it is just as easy. Simply type in the variable name equals the new class name parentheses with the variable name again. For instance, to change a to a character, you can type in a equals char parentheses a. Keep in mind that class transformations may cause some information to be lost. If you change a double to an integer, for example, everything after the decimal point will be truncated away. So far, I've just looked at scalars, but MATLAB also supports variables that are vectors or matrices. To create a vector, in your variable declaration statement, put brackets around your term and separate each value within the brackets with a comma or a space. For instance, c equals bracket 1 space 2 space 3 causes c to be created as a 1 by 3 vector with those three values stored in it. To create a matrix, the same principle applies, except that you use a semicolon to separate the rows. For instance, d equals bracket 1 comma 2 semicolon 3 comma 4 causes D to be created as a 2 by 2 matrix with those values. MATLAB always stores the data going across the rows and then down the columns, as you can see from the output of the function. That's the basics of variable definitions. Every variable has a value, a size, and a class. To set or change the class, use the name of the class as a function. To set or change the size or value, set the variable equal to whatever data set you want.